Welcome to Straight Out of Avernus, a Baldur's Gate 3 podcast. I'll be your guide, your DM of sorts, your lore master, your game master. I'm Drew. Hi, how's it going? And I'll be joined today by my pal, my player, my buddy, my friend. It's Andrew. How's it going, mate?
Hi, I'm good. Yeah, you're going to be the DM. I'm going to be the naive player who doesn't know anything about what we're talking about today, because I don't.
We're going to try something a little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit different.
We've got an agenda.
We do have a bit of an agenda, and we will follow it as best we can.
Sure. How's your gaming week gone?
My gaming week's gone well. I don't think I've had as much gaming time, just because my body is starting to tell me enough. Stop. But yeah, I think I've managed to play at least an hour every day since release, and most days more.
Well done.
Yeah.
I pushed myself last night. I dug deep, stayed up really late, and I managed to get out of Act 1.
Nice, well done.
I'm into new content.
Awesome. So you've left the Risen Road, gone for the Mountain Pass. Is that right?
I have gone for the Mountain Pass. Yeah, I did everything I could. I collected as much loot and as much treasure as I could from early access. So I think I've done everything.
Yeah, I think we did discuss that, and because we've got Sam, who is a bit ahead of us, and he has been telling us that that we've been like, oh, is it safe to do this before I move on? Because there is some quests that are like time locked, and once you leave an area, they're done. Mm-hmm. But I think we explored the Overground and the Underdark and the Forge.
Yes, I did that for the first time.
Yeah.
I never finished it in early access.
Yes,
so that was fun.
Interesting. So you'd never fought Grim?
Nope. And it was a fun fight. I enjoyed that.
Did you use the hammer?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. A lot of people I'm seeing get the achievement for killing him without using the hammer.
Oh, there's an achievement for that. Yeah,
and then they get that achievement, so you killed Grim without using the hammer, and they're like, I was meant to.
It's just it was just getting him into the right spot, I guess. But yeah, that was good fun, and then I cleaned up a few loose ends and then made for the Mountain Pass.
Yes. I mean, like I said, they've added a lot more to the early access area. And so there is new things to discover and new dialogue to have with your companions, etc. But getting to that new content was so exciting.
Took me 2 weeks to get there, and I've immediately gone into an encounter, and I'm getting my ass absolutely smashed.
Is that by the lady that?
Oh no, it's by a bunch of zombies and ghouls.
Oh yes.
They're just chilling.
It's a tough fight, that one, actually.
I think because I kind of walked into it and then I was kind of ganged up on.
Yes, that's what I'm enjoying about because we did a little bit of streaming.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, but I think that's what
outstanding success.
Yes, absolutely. It was fantastic. No one died 3 times and had to have us use our revivify scrolls. All of them. I think they're all gone. Because someone can't recognize an acid puddle.
But shit happens.
Yeah. But anyway, walking into fights. I think that's what I'm enjoying about the way we can maybe do that in our stream, is that as we approach things, we'll have hopefully already done it.
Yes.
In our solo game. And so we can just cheese it.
It's a bit of a silliness around it, as opposed to just getting your ass beat.
Yeah, because
I found that with the Duergar quite a lot in the Forge, that they're just tough.
Well, they are.
And I think I'd stacked the encounter in my disservice. Like, I think when I played it in early access, I think I kind of got some of the Duergar on my side.
There's a fight against Twatsolnir.
Yeah, Twatsolnir. Yeah, I think I had some of the Duergar on my side, but I couldn't trigger that this time around.
Okay, interesting.
So I had the whole Duergar camp up my ass.
Yeah. So you are.
You're
just in the Mountain Pass area.
Literally just in the door.
Fighting the undead there. I'm a fair bit ahead of you. I am I think I'm just about to enter the city.
Just going to reach Baldur's Gate.
I'm just about to leave the Shadowlands.
Wow.
We've done all there is to do there.
Is it cool that like the game's called Baldur's Gate, but you don't get there until 70 hours in?
Yeah, that's the thing. I've played about 40 hours, and Baldur's Gate is in sight.
Have you see it?
No.
Oh,
not
right,
even that.
okay.
Not even that. I think what's going to happen is when you leave the Shadowlands, you go to like the Worms Crossing Bridge or whatever, which is again still outside the city.
It's outside, way outside.
So I'm still probably another 10 hours away from it. Let's be fair.
It's a big game.
that's where you are. That's where I am in our stream.
Hey, we streamed, everybody. Thanks everybody for turning up.
There was a few.
Thanks for watching our socials.
There was a few, but we didn't really get. I got an announcement out on Instagram. But I guess this is the announcement for the next stream. We're going to be streaming Thursday 24th at 7:30 p.m. Greenwich
of August 2023.
Yes.
Just in case you listen to this like in a week's time and then like, hey, I was there. Yeah. Where were the guys?
Well, hopefully they could go onto our YouTube channel and watch it there. However, I did an oopsie. There's a setting you need to turn on in Twitch apparently to save your videos, and I didn't turn it on. So we either start again.
I'll be up for starting again.
People just can watch part 2 and they'll never see part 1. That is for Alan only.
I can get onto the Not Lloyd another time.
One more time. Yeah.
But hey, a little insight. I worked in media long before this, for a little bit, and I was really bad at it. And these things happen, and it's a nightmare.
I can imagine. I can imagine in a professional setting as well, when it's like, remember that 2 hours we spent on that project? Doesn't exist.
Oh yeah, that you would be surprised how many times that would happen. Or like you double tap the record button so it started recording and then stop recording.
Hold on.
I mean,
I'm recording. We're good.
Okay, yeah, we checked, right? Yeah, I mean, I didn't last long in the business, but I had some horror stories that I still wake up for in cold sweats. So I feel your pain.
Yeah,
these things happen. A good thing no one was actually watching.
Well, Alan was watching.
Alan was there,
and he's the only person now that will have seen that intro to our stream.
My first ever stream. If nobody shows up this time, like this podcast is over.
We're done.
I swear we're fucking done.
So I'll try and get this episode out tomorrow or Wednesday, so that at least people have 24 hours at least to get the news.
Yeah,
24th of August, 7:30, Greenwich on Twitch. We are straight out of Avernus.
Shut up, people! You people are listening. I know that you are. So this is your countdown clock. Do you want your favorite podcast to end? Well, this is it.
If this is anyone's favorite podcast, I think they need to get their priorities in order.
Yeah. We have to
It's not even my favorite podcast.
Yeah,
it's my favorite Baldur's Gate 3 podcast.
It's the favorite podcast that I am making. How's that?
Yeah, good. So that's where you are. That's where I am. That's where we are. I've another little bit of an update for you though.
Oh, on you go.
I've started to play through as the Dark Urge.
As Dirge.
Yeah. I'm loving it.
Oh, really?
It's already very different. The way the characters react to you, your companions, is already so different. I got to the Druid Grove, and I let that lady kill the goblin prisoner. I just watched it happen.
Yeah.
Because, it was cool. And then, if you go to that little storehouse and there's that lady who's like, I don't know, her legs are like paralyzed or something.
Yeah, I've never really resolved that, but my suspicion is that the hag has something to do with it.
Possibly, because she's in the camp giving out potions and stuff. So I imagine that's got something to do with it. But anyway, I walked into that room and I got the narrator was kind of like, you could end her life right now. No one's here. No one's watching. So I did. I just killed her. And then as I was leaving the room, I accidentally clicked on... No, it was a bit later on. I accidentally clicked on Lizelle and started chatting to her. And, she's proper got the hots for me now.
I bet she does.
Because I've just been a dick and been a murderer. And we spent a lovely night together.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad
So
it's worked out for the.
I've not even
for
left the
dirge.
Druid Grove. Not even left the Druid Grove, and I've already slept with Lizelle.
Nice. Everyone out there should probably watch the video of 4 halflings barbarians.
Oh, it's fantastic, isn't it?
That's on YouTube.
Who is it? I was going to call out.
I have no idea, but he usually does. I've seen a lot of his Warhammer Total War content, which is always very funny. Like he just makes stupid armies, and has kind of funny music and memeage all over everything.
It is Okoi. Is that how you say it?
Okay, just
Okay.
YouTube search.
OII. 4 halfling barbarians. Oh, it's a fantastic video.
It was
So-
very, very, very,
so
very funny.
So yeah, and also my part 1 of my Dirge playthrough is up on YouTube, on our channel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Check this out. Content.
Yeah. Part 2 is where I sleep with Lizelle. So, although because we were streaming, right?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I thought our stream got taken down because you couldn't resist looking at some gnome tits.
I turned on the hide genitals and turned off show cinematic nudity options so that we would not get banned. And I still had those settings on when Lizelle stripped off in front of me.
Right.
And it just looks really weird. You'll see in my gameplay that I start the scene, Lizelle comes out with a leaf over her...
As God intended.
Hiding her bit. And you'll see me go into the pause menu, go into the settings, turn it all off.
You're such a pervert.
Um,
I had no idea I was podcasting with such an enormous perv.
you have to play these games the way they're intended. That is
The
what
little leaves floating over the
Larian
bits.
wanted me to see Lizelle's glory.
I think she's quite scary looking when she's got no clothes on.
She is a bit.
I don't mean to body shame, but like she looks kind of
Because she's an alien.
yeah. Well, I guess there's that.
Yeah.
There's
So,
websites for that.
Yes, so that's where I'm at.
Can't believe we're talking about this.
And my dirge is really hot too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, right, we're on with the pod. We've got a little agenda today.
We do a little bit. So yes, speaking of where I am in my gameplay, I'm about to reach the city of Baldur's Gate.
Yes.
And I kind of want to know what to expect, Drew.
Well,
So-
you've come to the right man.
I've come with my favourite lore boy.
Yes, I've taken the challenge, and I thought I knew a little bit about Baldur's Gate before we chose to do this. But I went off. I went scurrying about, and I just started to absorb some lore, absorb some info, and I'm going to kind of try and kind of regurgitate it out at you in my own styling.
And
I mean,
I'll be
if you-
here to ask questions.
I mean, if you want to hear some very in-depth lore, there are better places to go than this. But I will do my best. Do you have a dice on you by the way?
I do, yeah.
Go grab it. D20, please. You find yourself trawling through unfamiliar streets. The sun has long since set, and you are battling with the hypersensation of sea, saltwater air, and refuge that piles up and fills the street around you.
You're describing Aberdeen, Drew.
Yeah, well, I'll continue to describe something very similar. The dark stone buildings loom oppressively over you, reaching up towards the mist-strewn sky. The lights of candles behind curtained windows just kind of create a small flickering. You look down to the map that you received off a gentleman in the Elf Song Tavern, but it's hard to make out in this dim light. Roll.
I have dark vision.
Son of a bitch. Roll a investigation check.
Okay. 14 plus stuff.
14. You kind of make out the symbols and the etchings and the kind of rough turn left here, turn right here, and you feel that you're on the right track. What do you do?
I continue. I press on.
You press on. You go deeper into the labyrinthine streets of the city, passing people here and there, But every time you turn a corner, every time you pass a body, you feel that you're being watched. You feel that you get the impression that people are taking notice of you as you pass. What do you do?
I'll maybe stop for a second and just look around a bit more.
Okay.
And try and perceive my surroundings.
Do a perception check.
4. Everything's safe. Continue on.
All normal here. And as you turn to continue, you walk straight into a small figure with kind of a hood over their head and carrying a long stick and a lantern. As you bump into them, you hear like, "Oi, watch where you're going, mate," from like the young voice underneath.
That was a young voice?
Yeah, it was a little boy.
Okay. Hold on, I need to get an accent for my character.
Hurry up.
No, we're good. Sorry, sir, I didn't see you. I was trying to look at my map. I'm a bit lost.
Oh, you're a bit lost, are you? Lucky you. I can point you anywhere in the city you need to go. I'm a lantern bearer, see?
Oh.
He says.
Perfect, young boy. I will give you a silver if you can point me towards whatever it is that I'm looking for.
He kind of looks over your shoulder, starts to kind of examine the map, and then he kind of goes, "Oh, that makes sense. I know where you're headed. Follow me, mister. I'll show you where to go. For silver's in it for me."
Yeah, 2 if you can get me there quick.
No problem, mate. And he kind of leads you on. Do you follow?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. This young boy with a weirdly old man accent, old man voice, surely knows what he's doing.
Is that old man voice?
I think so.
Okay. Anyway, he kind of scurries away from you quite quickly, and you kind of have to keep pace with him.
Yeah,
He's very
a brisk jog.
Because he's smaller. He can weave in and out of the passing drunkards, so you do have to kind of keep up. He seems to take a left. Oh, don't worry, mate. That map's no good. Follow me down here. As he kind of starts to kind of scamper down a kind of a more shadier alley.
Can I get an insight check this little scamp?
Do an insight check.
I'm gonna roll my metal dice.
Do it.
8.
All seems above board here.
Yeah, cool. Lead the way.
As you kind of follow on, the mists from the Chanthar are kind of sweeping in, and you kind of, even though he's holding this kind of like lantern in front of him as he goes, you start to lose sight of him as he takes a right. You take the right. You take a left where you think you see him go, and then you're boyless.
Oh, bugger.
As these kind of narrow streets, no wider than 2 people, are starting to kind of oppress even harder in on you on all sides. And that's when you hear it. The scrape of metal on stone. You turn, and you see shadows, shapes, dark shapes starting to emerge out of the mist. You turn around on the other side. Another man, another shadow, another hooded face. And that's when one breaks from the crowd and begins to push forward. You see a very rough kind of canvas bag mask over most of his face, and below you see a mouth full of broken teeth as they start drawing daggers from their belts.
Ah, this is Aberdeen.
Welcome to the city of Baldur's Gate.
Oh, fantastic!
What do you think? What do you think of my little?
Great.
My little. I've not DM'd in like 2 years, so what do you think?
That's true. That was great. That was good. Brought me into the setting. It was good that I had a city to compare it to.
I mean, yeah, I've been to Aberdeen. I've spent a lot of time in Aberdeen.
I've lived there.
So yes, Baldur's Gate. I'm going to do a little bit of a lore dive. We're gonna explore. I'm going to take my hand, Andrew. I'll like that small scamp. I will lead you through the lore. Do you want me to read you the?
There's no money in it for you.
No, where's my silver? Oh damn! I should have got paid up front. Do you want me to read you the opening bit of DM description from the adventure?
Yes.
Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus.
Yes, and Descent into Avernus is. I'm sure you're going to go on to this, but it is quite important to Baldur's Gate 3.
Potentially. I think
It
that I don't know.
preludes the game pretty much directly.
Yes, it does. I don't know if it's going to come up in this episode. If this
Hmm.
lore telling goes well, then there may be
Future lore telling episodes.
future lores that I will do. Future lore dumps I will regale our listeners with. Anyway, yeah, I'll read this little bit.
Regale, is that when you just bring Gale back to life?
Quit it. Right, I'll read this little bit here. Check this out. Welcome to Baldur's Gate. Oh, fuck's sake. I'm dyslexic. Bear with me. This is staying in. Welcome to Baldur's Gate, a veritable nest of rats and vipers clinging to the rocky slopes overlooking the Chianthar River. From their high perches in the upper city, the local nobles, known as patriarchs, gaze down with veiled contempt upon the common rabble in the grimy lower city, which hugs the foggy harbour. The whole of Baldur's Gate reeks of blood, crime, and opportunity. One can easily fathom why pirates and traders are drawn to this place like flies to a carcass. What a nice place. Which is interesting because in all the screenshots and videos I've seen of Baldur's Gate, it looks quite lovely.
It does look really nice. The game has made the city, from what I've seen only in trailers, because I've not got there yet. It looks very nice. It looks lovely.
Well, part of it is, and I will get to that.
Yeah, but I believe there's a reason for it being quite a bit of a hellhole in Descent into Avernus.
Yes, there's partly, but also in its history, it is there's actually a reason why it's quite a divided city, quite a segregated city. So a little bit about its background, a little bit about why Baldur's Gate is the way it is. In doing my research, I discovered that I never knew why the Sword Coast was called the Sword Coast. For those who don't know, in Dungeons and Dragons, in the kind of main setting of Faerun, all the adventure books, all the modules take place on the west coast of Faerun, which is known as the Swords Coast. And apparently it's called that because it's a really jaggy coastline.
Right, so it looks like swords.
Well, it's more just like it's sharp, it's high, it's difficult to navigate, it's got bad weather, it's a really difficult area to come and go and do business. So it's very important that there are places along the Swords Coast where ships can dock, ships can port, and people can do trade and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So you have cities like Waterdeep in the north, and Neverwinter are really big port towns. Neverwinter appeared in the Dungeons and Dragons movie,
which is available for streaming on certain platforms, and I started watching it again the other night.
I'm going to see if I can get my wife to watch it.
I am also attempting that as well.
Because it was really good. It didn't do well, but it was great.
No, it didn't really do well financially, but it was a great movie. It was just fun.
It was really fun.
I'd love a second one, but
tough. Yes, so Neverwinter and Waterdeep are big port cities, but in the middle, a bit further south, there is a big river known as the Chianthar, and that goes right inland, and that was a great place for people to try and get inland to weather tough storms. And in that little area, there was a little pirate cove known as the Grey Harbour. And this was a place where pirates gathered, and they would use this kind of the fog and the bad weather to draw in ships and bank them and get them looted and stuff. But they had this little area set to their side, which was called the Grey Harbour, and that was kind of like their base of operations.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of over time, it grew and became a little town. It was still called Grey Harbour until a fella arose.
I'm gonna guess his name.
Go on, you go.
Baldur.
It's Baldrin, yeah.
Yeah, Baldur, yeah.
Did you guess that, or did you?
No, I think Will said it.
Ah, okay. So Baldrin he grew up in Grey Harbour, and he set sail for adventure. He set across the sea, and he returned incredibly wealthy. And to kind of give wealth back to the place that he grew up in, he built a wall around the harbour, which included a gate. And the locals started to call that Baldur's Gate.
Makes sense.
And he put a lot of wealth back into the town, and it grew even more. People started because the Swords Coast wasn't a very safe or good place to do like agriculture. People would start to come in.
It's
to
not
Grey
safe.
Harbor.
Have you seen how many adventure modules take place there?
There's giants and dragons and goblins and bugbears. Oh my! So you had this kind of mixing of farmers and agriculture people mixing with bandits and pirates in what was known now as the Gate. And they had this big wall, and Baldwin was like, I'm going to go and do more adventuring, lads. I'll come back with wealth. See you later. And he sets off sail again to never return.
Oh dear.
Nobody knows what happened to old Baldwin, but the people loved him. So they eventually would name the settlement Baldur's Gate, and that's how it got its name.
Very good.
But we're gonna get into some trouble, because these farmers, they kind of took over, and they were like, hey, we can make a ton of money getting ships in here if we just raise some taxes. So when ships would come in, they'd have to pay exorbitant fees to port here in Baldur's Gate. And these pirates, they didn't like that very much. Wait, hang on. And when I heard this bit of lore, I was just thinking of what were the fellas in episode 1 called?
The Trade Federation.
The Trade Federation, just creating a crisis by employing space taxes, because all kids' films should revolve around taxation.
The Emperor's plot was very complex.
It was back in the day when he was just like, I'm just going to blow up planets. So there, and then we start episode 1 with, the very Asian stereotype. I did not know a Jedi. Ridiculous. It's a terrible movie.
I might cut that impression.
Wait, yeah, we cancelled George Lucas, not me. But anyway, yeah. So these farmers.
It's staying in.
It's really bad. But I'm doing an impression of the Nemodians.
You are, yes, that's true.
I mean, they're just as racist as the flying Jewish butterfly.
My tricks don't work on me, only money.
Ridiculous.
But when you're 10, they're fun little aliens that have funny quirks.
Let's not forget about the Sambo salamander.
The what?
Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, yep.
I mean, come on, internet, get on it.
Star Wars is problematic. You heard it here first.
Anyway,
and I love it.
Right. Anyway, so these pirates started getting a bit fed up with all these taxations coming in from the Nemoidians. So there was a bit of a revolt, and the pirates overturned the farmers. And as a kind of a joke, they kind of the four most kind of powerful pirate lords called themselves dukes.
Oh, yes, okay, that's where the dukes come from. Right.
And they kind of became a thing. They're like the High Dukes.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And after that, over time, the city grew more and more prosperous, grew larger. It started to spill beyond the initial walls that Baldwin had constructed, and new walls were constructed. And there you kind of get that kind of upper and lower city. And that's where you kind of get this tale of two cities, where you have the inner city, the rich upper class, wide open streets, people being very like showing off with their gold and walking around with bodyguards and hanging gardens, and in the lower city, which is cramped and overcrowded, and all the stone buildings are being built taller and taller to remain within the boundaries of the city. And then you also have the outer city, which are all these kind of people that just can't get even into the bad bit.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
pretty much slums.
It kind of the way I think about it is that you have Waterdeep, right? Waterdeep is like the city of splendor.
Yes.
This kind of like golden city full of robot people and high temples and all this kind of crazy splendor everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think imagine Metropolis.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate is your Gotham.
Right, got you. Yes, okay.
Baldur's Gate is your city built on corruption, built on this kind of seediness, and they have this vibe of like the kind of the rich and the nobles having this kind of, oh yeah, we like the Waynes, they're high up on this social pedestal, stomping about on the poor folk. But it's all crooked, it's all corrupt.
Doesn't sound like a very nice place to live. I know I always, watching movies, reading comics, you're like, why on earth does anyone live in Gotham?
I mean, there's so many psychopaths.
I know.
Batman just keeps letting them go.
You'd think housing may be cheap, but your insurance must be sky high.
Your life insurance.
Yeah.
No, they just don't even, they close the door in your face. But it is a nice place. Baldur's Gate is a lovely place to live if you are in the upper city.
I imagine it would be. Most places like that are.
It's very selective in who can live there. They don't allow in the common rabble. You can use certain gates to come and go.
Okay.
It's not to say people from the lower city can't come into the upper city, but you have to pay taxes for it.
Right. Yeah, you got to pay to get. Yeah. Okay. Pay to get
in the upper city, and you cannot stay there unless you have like a written note from your doctor or something.
It's kind of like when the local council, you're trying to apply for planning permission, and they're like, nope, you don't meet any of the criteria. But if I was to grease your palms with 50k.
You're starting to see some dichotomies.
Not that doesn't happen up here.
but then also the entire package of corruption, the entire it gets tied off in a neat little bow when it comes to the kind of main kind of police force of Baldur's Gate, which is the Flaming Fist.
Oh yes, I'm familiar with the Flaming Fist. I've met a few of them.
Yes, they're very distinct in their kind of red and yellow armor. I've seen a lot of them die by the hand of dragons and Githyanki. So the Flaming Fist are kind of like the police of Baldur's Gate. They're kind of like the army as well. But the most important thing about them is that every single one of them is mercenaries.
Yes.
Like the way I had it described was that it's not like it's like somebody like, I'm going to do the best for my community. It's more just like the grizzled adventurer who's like spent most of his life killing, going like, I need to just kind of do a job for a bit.
Yeah. I get the vibe from them, kind of a just following orders vibe.
And these guys are like kind of control.
Yeah.
They're not going to be the best. They're not going to be the best people at putting down trouble. They're more likely just to kick someone's skull in than to try and reason with them.
I'm pretty sure in the Descent into Avernus adventure module, it starts off where you as the player are instructed to go and find a Flaming Fist captain, and I'm pretty sure he's just beating on some people when you go and find him, and it's like you can let him just beat the people up, you can intervene, then he's going to get mad at you.
He's like, it's living.
And then I think you can choose to fight him, but you're level 1 and you're going to lose.
But that's kind of a big part of the Flaming Fist is that they're kind of tied to Baldur's Gate in a way. The kind of grandest High Duke, the guy who's in charge of that group, is currently he's Alder Ravengard. It's in their best interest to kind of keep Baldur's Gate going and keep it prospering, because they're that's kind of their mandate, and also their kind of head of their order is in the High Dukes. So it's like, sorry, the Grand Dukes. So they're not good. They're pretty heavy-handed.
You don't join the Flaming Fist to necessarily uphold the law and be give back to the community. That's not what the Flaming Fist.
You're there to make money.
Yeah, you uphold the law, but the law is what the Dukes say it is.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that the laws and taxation and that it fluctuates all the time.
Yeah.
So it's very tricky to kind of keep up with that. If you're trying to get into the upper city, it's like you may have been there yesterday, then you come back and it's like, I'll be 500 gold, please.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to actually see in the game, see how well they implement that, because like you say, it looks very nice.
Oh, yeah, sure, but I hope you do get into the lower city, or even like the outer city, where there's all these kind of small kind of encampments and kind of shanty towns that are lawless. They have
Yeah,
The Flaming Fist do patrol around there, but there's not really any. They can't keep control of it.
Yeah, I imagine the way the game's going so far, when I finally get to Baldur's Gate, I'll be Worms Crossing, then it'll be the Outer City, and it'll probably be another 10-20 hours before you get to the Upper City. Let's be honest.
There's also just a big mountain in the middle of like the whole area. It's kind of like in Edinburgh in a way, you know, like.
Yeah. Is that not similar to Waterdeep as well?
Waterdeep has Undermountain, which is like.
It's got like. Is it not got a mountain in it? Because we went up it when we played.
Oh yeah, we've been there. It's called Dusthawks. Oh wait, hang on.
But yeah, so there's a mountain in the middle of Baldur's Gate as well.
Yeah, or kind of on the outskirts, and the kind of outer city kind of snakes round it, kind of for protection, I guess. So Baldur's Gate is a city-state. It doesn't belong to a country. It's a very independent. It's a very neutral city because it's very it's kind of main because the land around it's kind of trash and no good. They rely heavily on trade and they make all their money through trade and business, and so it's within their interests to be very open to everybody. I think it's one of the reasons why all the tieflings are wanting to go to Baldur's Gate, because it sounds like a trash heap.
Yeah,
for the majority of people, and
it's a safe haven for them. And for those tieflings specifically, they've come from Elturel, which has its own bad history, and why they've been kind of cast out. And Baldur's Gate at the beginning of the adventure module was accepting refugees from there. So that kind of tradition is probably still ongoing.
So it has that kind of creates some interesting things about Baldur's Gate, is that they let in a lot of people, like a lot of different kinds. Like Drow, for example. Like you can, if you're a Drow, come on in, welcome Drow. Whilst in other places you might be executed for just being a Drow on the surface, you know. But also with that, there's also like a kind of a freedom of worship in Baldur's Gate. Okay,
that's interesting.
You're kind of allowed to do whatever you want in terms.
I was curious about the Flaming Fist actually, because they, their emblem is a fist on fire. But I was wondering if they took that from a god, or if they're free to worship who they want, or do they follow a certain doctrine?
I don't know. I think it's just kind of like a doctrine of cash.
Yeah.
But there's tons of like really prominent gods in the city. You have like Gond, who's like the kind of craftsman god.
Yeah.
Helm of protection. Ilmater's in there, who's like a god of sacrifice and suffering. I really like Ilmater for some reason.
He's the god of sacrifice and suffering is quite well worshipped.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like when Shadowheart tells you she worships Shar, who's the mistress of loss and just misery and.
Yeah, you probably would have. They probably, if you were a Sharon worshipper in Baldur's Gate, they probably wouldn't have a big problem with that.
No, well, that's where her sect is in Baldur's Gate, isn't it?
Of course. I mean, you have the Timora, the goddess of luck. She's worshipped. I know this is in the game, but down in the port area, there's a really big shrine or temple to Umberlee, which is like she's called the Sea Bitch. She's like the kind of elemental goddess of the sea, and she's just a bit of a wrong'un. She's like an evil goddess, but she's like worshipped because she's like, I'm going to go out to sea. I'll pay my offerings to Umberlee so I don't get.
That probably holds over from the pirates from before.
Potentially, but also, I mean, the only rule is with the gods is that you're just not allowed to hurt anybody. So I imagine there'll be open worships of the Dead Three in there as well.
Well, yeah, the Dead Three. It's alluded to, not very subtly, I think, in a lot of the marketing for Baldur's Gate 3, that the Dead 3 are very important.
Oh yeah.
And I've reached a moment in my playthrough where they do come up. They are referenced quite heavily.
The Dead 3 are deserving of their own lore video.
Bane, oh yeah, absolutely.
Bane, the god of tyranny, Baal, the lord of murder, and Merkel, the lord of bones.
Yeah, they're not good guys.
No, but I think in Baldur's Gate it's kind of like, okay, do what you want, but don't cause any trouble, Lord of worshippers of the Lord of Murder. I see no problems here.
One of the very early quests you get sent on in that Descent into Avernus module is to go into a lair of the Cult of the Dead 3.
They're so awesome.
And yeah, and you have to fight a lot of the Dead 3's followers at level 2.
I've heard that dungeon crawl is savage.
It's absolutely savage, yeah.
But yeah, so there's a lot of freedom in worship, a lot of freedom in what you are and who you can be, as long as you're in it for business. And I don't know if I've done the lower city justice, but the lower city, like I think the upper city, I was saying how it's very extravagant and opulent, and they show off their wealth. But the lower city is like a city that has had to stack itself on top of itself to squeeze in as much as they can.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a detail that I heard of a fella who does really good lore videos, Mr. Rex, is that apparently you're not allowed dogs in Baldur's Gate.
Oh, really?
Because they are loud and they smell. And
Okay.
There's just like you don't get horses in the town in the lower city.
Right. Okay.
Because it's just too narrow, too cramped.
Mm-hmm. That
So
makes
it's
sense.
But they love cats
Who doesn't?
because cats kill rats.
Yes. Yeah.
So I thought that was quite just a silly detail that I heard. I was like, no dogs in Baldur's Gate. Eh?
No dogs. That's actually very interesting. Yeah.
I mean, who knows what kind of depiction we'll see in the game.
If they try and kick out Scratch,
No,
oh, hell to pay.
no dogs allowed. But yes, but crime and kind of the seedy underbelly of Baldur's Gate is like rampant at all times. And have you encountered the guild any time yet?
The Zentarans?
Not the Zentarum. There's a group in Baldur's Gate called the Guild.
I don't believe I have.
I have, in a letter.
Oh, right, okay.
I saw that their leader, Nine Fingers Keen, is mentioned in a letter.
Right.
And the guild is literally just like a collection of, cutthroats, thieves, body snatchers, like the worst of the worst get a safe haven in the guild. So yeah, Baldur's Gate. Once I'm finished playing this game, I think I want to run a Baldur's Gate game.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've spoken about it for years since that adventure module came out. I have started to run it.
Oh, really?
And I'd never really got more than a couple of sessions in, just because of the way some groups go, they just fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
And you've always said you want to run it.
It's just,
because it sounds like a great adventure module, because most of it actually takes place in Avernus.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a slight on Baldur's Gate itself, but I mean...
Mm-hmm. But it starts in Baldur's Gate, and it's called Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus.
I think you can go back to the city. I think you can kind of like bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a great passage or a great kind of chapter in that module of just the Baldur's Gate lore, and it takes up half the book.
Is that the Baldur's Gate Gazetteer?
Yeah, it's at the Gazette. Yeah.
Chapter, yeah.
Yeah, and it just gives you so much info. I mean, listener, I could have sat and read the whole thing in preparation for this podcast, but I'm busy playing Baldur's Gate, so I didn't.
Are you gonna go and play when we're done here?
Probably not. I think I'm gonna go to my bed.
It is late. It is bedtime.
Yeah, but I hope I.
What's the latest you stayed up till playing this game?
Oh, I was up till 1:00 yesterday.
I was up till 3, 2 nights in a row.
Well, that's rough.
Not work nights. Absolutely not. Like it was Friday night and Saturday night I did that.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So yeah, is there anything else you want to know about Baldur's Gate? I think I gave a kind of a flavour. I got a nice little smattering of taste.
Yeah, you definitely let myself and listeners know what to expect when they're playing through the game and they get to the city. If it is entirely wrong and not at all like how you depicted, then slide into our DMs and tell me, because Drew won't look at it, but I can relay those messages to Drew and tell him how wrong he is.
It's not lore accurate. Can't believe this. 0 out of 10.
But yeah, I think you've given us a good. I think you've done well. You've given us a good bit of background knowledge there to get us started when we enter the city and kind of know a little bit of what to expect. Basically, if you want to get away with something in front of the Flaming Fist, just give him some money first.
Just pay him.
Yep, pay him. Which should be easy enough. I've got lots of gold.
That's good. I mean, I think you're going to need it if the taxes...
Yeah.
If those Nemodians are in charge of the gates. So yeah, I hope that's kind of just a little overview, a little smattering. I hope my lore research did a good job.
Yeah, if we feel that this lore episode's gone well, we'll definitely do more. I would like also to venture into small hints and tips. I don't want to go like full. Here's the best build you can make. Because I do like that kind of thing, but I don't know how interesting it is to other people.
We've seen the most efficient build is 4 barbarians.
Yeah, 4 halfling barbarians who can just hoard fire barrels.
And just throw each other at stuff.
I did see a video earlier that's actually a very helpful tip. If you have a party member who's pretty low on health, you can throw potions at them. That's not really anything new. We knew that. What we didn't know was you just go, if you're in combat, you go into your inventory and you can just put all of your potions on the ground. And then you can have Karlak, if you go Frenzied Barbarian, you can have her pick up people and throw them into the potions. And if you smash multiple potions, you get all the healing.
This game is so great. Who figured that one out?
I don't know. I saw it on TikTok and I thought it was pretty funny. It's a good twist on the throwing potions at your friends.
Don't throw potions at friends. Throw your friends at potions.
Here, when my wife was doing the Druid Grove fight, I don't know where she went wrong, but someone in her party was really hurt, and all of the NPCs, every single one of them, spent their entire turn throwing potions at them, but kept missing. And it did nothing.
So was there just like potions all over the place, or were they all smashed?
They all smashed, but they didn't heal her.
Right.
It was but it's pretty cool that the NPCs recognized that one of your people was low on health and started throwing potions at them.
Brilliant, fantastic.
But yeah.
Hey, speaking of TikTok, what's our socials?
Yes, so our socials, we are straight out of Avernus, pretty much everywhere we can be found. That is Spotify, that is Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and now Twitch.
Hey everybody, remember what I said earlier? My threat still stands. There'll be no more of this golden lore if you don't pony up and show up.
Tune in Thursday, half 7.
Come hang out with us.
GMT.
Come hang out with us.
We also, so you can slide into our DMs on that. You can leave a comment on the Spotify. See how you're liking it. If it's a good comment, I'll publish it. If it's a bad one, if it's a bad one, I'll ignore it and pretend it never happened. But if you really want to get really old school, get intimate, you can send us an email at straight out of Avernus bg3@gmail.com.
You're getting really good at this.
I'm getting better than I was.
It's great. You're getting good at your socials. I'm so glad I am not doing it.
Well, here's the thing. I was thinking about this the other day, right?
Okay.
I'm not active on them at all.
Right.
And it got me thinking about people who are and who like make their careers out of social media.
Yeah, I know, right?
I can't even be bothered to do one Instagram post a day.
I
have a collection of memes sitting on my phone ready to go. But I cannot be arsed. You're making this thing your career.
We're
exhausted.
We're not talking about Dungeons and Dragons anymore, folks. Who cares? My sister knew a guy whose girlfriend, she would go into town on like a weekday, and she'd take a backpack with her and like a chaperone, and she would go into like different clubs and bars and then change outfits and have different photos taken of her.
Okay.
And then have it like posted throughout the week.
That's actually very clever.
It's absolutely pathetic.
It is, but if that is your like career in your life, it's like why not make it as easy as possible? Do it all in one day.
Yeah, I know, right? But it's more just like, hey guys, look at me having so much fun. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then do it all over. You know what I mean? It's like, just came out. I couldn't sleep at night.
It's
with
clever,
the dishonesty.
It is a bit. I don't get it.
I've got another story.
Go for it.
This
is all staying in.
This is all staying in.
It's quality content.
When I worked in my last customer facing job, I had to give somebody like.
Would you not say your current job is a customer facing job?
It is, but like my other one was more because I had to face a lot more people, and a lot of them weren't very nice, and I basically couldn't. I basically had to tell somebody off because they weren't following the rules of like the guidelines of the product, and the lady turned to me and went, "My daughter has 50,000 followers on Instagram," and I don't think I'm never this sharp in real life or ever, but I just turned to her with a deadpan face and just went, "What's Instagram?"
Very good, very good.
Anyway, let's get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We should probably take a long rest, Andrew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should. Yeah,
because I mean, I'm gonna have to finish this game somehow.
Somehow.
But hey, thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks
for that.
Thanks for
listening to my absolute waffle.
It was a good waffle.
Thanks, Andrew. You're a kind man.
No worries. But yeah, straight out of Avernus, Twitch, Av7, Thursday 24th of August, 2023. If you're listening to this in the future, you missed it.
Yeah, keep at that grind.
Yeah, and don't go thinking we're going to be playing every Thursday, because we're not like that.
We're a finite resource.
Yeah, we basically have decided we will stream or we will record a podcast whenever D&D is cancelled, which happens fairly frequently.
Sure. Hey, so anyway, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you there, or else.